Good morning, YouTube. Looks like I have to try to figure out a new introduction to these videos and not just my face. So today's discussion is going to be finances, moving from our first house to our forever home, and how that mortgage process all worked for us. Now, somebody once told me, and this is one of the other reasons why I'm doing the YouTube, is they always said, "Hey Judy, I love your stories because I can't believe how crazy they get." And that is so true. We do not try to make crazy stories, they just tend to happen. So let's see where I was. And we lived in a small, pretty city-like town for a while, and now we live kind of in a farm town, but still in Connecticut, where there isn't a lot of farms and such. The house that we went from was probably about half an acre, maybe even less, and now we've got 2.3 acres. Our problem when we were looking for houses is that we asked that the houses be at least 3 bedroom, at least 2 bath, and have land. Alright. The first 2 were pretty easy to get. 3 bedroom, 2 bath, okay, all in our price range. But when you started to ask for land, that was a struggle. And then we also wanted a house with some personality, something that felt comfortable to us, which is, I think, all reasonable request. And we really did not want a fixer-upper. We wanted a move-in ready house. So when you say 3 bedroom, 2 bath with land, and it's fully fixed up, the price was astronomical. So we're like, okay, let's do 3 bedroom, 2 bath, still have land, can be a fixer-upper a little bit. So we found a house that had character. It doesn't need to be remodeled. It just needs some extensive updating. It looks like there's so much wallpaper and so much carpeting and borders and all that stuff that need to happen, and we want to turn it into a homestead, so there's going to be some land, dealing with some land. But this house has got a backyard that's like almost entirely fenced in, or I would say like half an acre is fenced in. So good flat grassy area for kiddo to play in, and really happy with the house. Unfortunately, when we had the inspection done, we found out we needed a new roof. The septic tank had gone. So we needed a brand new septic tank, 2 distribution boxes. The leach field was fine. There was radon in the air, radon in the water. The pH of the water was acidic, so we need to get that stabilized because it's well water. And the well pump was not putting out the pressures it was supposed to, and it was nearly at the end of its life. So we had all this work that needed to be done. Talked to our bank and said, "Hey, this is what we're looking at for a house. What do you think?" And the guy's like, "Oh, you're gonna need a new roof? Well, if the appraiser notices that when we go out, then they won't qualify you for a mortgage." So we're like, okay, so how do we get around this? I said, because we have the money to fix the roof, plus do the down payment, we just need to know, how do we do this? And he said, well, we just won't lend to somebody that needs work. done. It's like, okay, fine, not a problem. Well, actually, not fine, not a problem. I was kind of freaking out, and our closing attorney recommended a company out of New Jersey. I will never use them. I will never recommend them. I'm not going to bash them and tell you their name or anything, but definitely not a company I will ever work with again. I called them up and said, here's the situation. We're going to need a new roof. We're going to need a new septic tank. We're going to need radon taken care of in the house. How do we can finance all of it. How do we get a mortgage? And the lady's like, oh, then you have to get a construction loan. I'm like, why do we have to get a loan for something we can pay for out of pocket? And she goes, well, that's the way it works. You'll never get a mortgage anywhere if you don't get a construction loan attached to it for all of this work. I'm like, but I understand you needing to do the inspections for the construction, but I don't understand why I have to take a loan out for something I can pay for out of pocket. And I finally, day after day, all of a sudden, they're like, okay, you need all the estimates from all the people. So I got the estimate from the excavator guy for the septic. I got the estimate for the radon. I got the estimate for the roof. And I sent them all in. And the lady sent it directly to underwriting. Didn't ask the mortgage lady. She was like, she's not a loan officer. She's not an underwriter. But she took it upon herself to send all this documentation to underwriting. So now they have been fully made aware of the situation in the house. So I'm still like, why do I need a loan for something I can pay for? At the end of it, I mean, we were, as far as we know, we were closing on October 31st, which is a Thursday, or was a Thursday. The Wednesday before, like, what was it, like, October 23rd, the Wednesday before, we got a phone call from our closing attorney saying that the sale of our house, all the documentation stated that our close date was October 28th. So 28, 29, 30, 31, like 4 days ahead of schedule. And when do I find out? After 4 o'clock the Wednesday before. So instead of having Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday to move out, we only had Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So we did manage to do it. So the mortgage lady just really on the 23rd, the same day my lawyer calls me to say that we're going to be all set to close on the 28th. The mortgage lady calls me, and I asked her yet again, probably like the 5th time, I don't understand why I have to take a loan for something that I can pay for out of pocket. And she goes, well, you don't have to. And I'm like, you told me we had to. And she's like, absolutely not. I would never tell you that. You can escrow the amount. And I'm like, I asked you that way back in the beginning. What's the deal? And she goes, it wasn't me. I don't know who you talked to, but I never would have told you you had to take a construction loan. If you wanted to see, I probably look like Yosemite Sam. Like bright red face, steam rolling out of my eyes. Oh my God, are you kidding me right now? But she goes, now that's going to take extra paperwork and we have to get you approved. And I'm like, do it. I'm not going to take a 30-year mortgage on something I can pay for. So we got it straightened out. And then come to find out, they didn't even escrow the right amount. They were supposed to escrow the amount of the septic, the amount of the radon. And for some reason, the roof, which is the most structurally unsound part of the house, they didn't care about. So that, thankfully, I get to pay totally for out of pocket without escrows, without loans, without any issues. The amount for the septic and the radon is not what they escrowed for. For some reason, somebody looked at the paperwork and took our radon level of our water and decided to use that as the amount for the water estimate, for the well and radon estimate. Thankfully, the amount for the escrow for the the septic was correct. But let's add some salt to the wound. A water doctor came out to do the radon and well, and no one informed them, even though I was told they were informed. No one informed them that there was an escrow for that. So not only was the wrong amount escrowed for, now we're paying for the whole thing out of pocket while the money is still held up in escrow. So I don't know if you understand how the escrow works, but say the radon in the well, this is totally a wrong number, but the radon in the well was like $4,000. For that to be escrowed, they would escrow $6,000. So you would hold out the $4,000 for the work and then another 50% of the work, just in case something goes wrong. So not only are we out the amount because they've got it all in escrow, plus half, now we just had to pay out of pocket for it. And the amount was wrong, too, that they had on their record for the escrow. I almost didn't know how we were going to get groceries. It really wasn't that bad, considering that the roof would get... Because of what they did, I held back on part of the roof to be done in the springtime or sometime shortly thereafter. We also wanted a new skylight put in, and the roofer hadn't ordered it yet, so just a calamity of events. So we got it all straightened out. But that's the finance side of this house. It's just been a little bit crazy with the mortgage company, just wrong numbers. Oh, and at closing, the mortgage lady had transposed a number. So at the day after we sign the paperwork, we get a new set of paperwork from our closing attorney saying, hey, your mortgage person's telling us that you decided to not use as many points, and I really didn't understand points. I'm like, I never asked for lower points. I don't even know what points are to be able to ask for lower points. Thankfully, I had somebody at my house at the time that understands that stuff and discussed it with me. I do work in finance at my work, but that's not that has nothing to do close with what I know how to do. But I could obviously see that there was a transposed number. So to cover up their mistake, the mortgage company's mistake, instead of saying, hey, we fat-fingered this, we transposed a number, they decided to say that we were asking for lower points. Now, this sounds bad, but it's really not. It actually worked to our advantage. We got another check back from the mortgage company For the goof up, of course, it was $1,800 because it was literally a transposition. So if you work with numbers at all, transpositions always equal the number 9. Don't. If you have questions or comments, I can always do videos on this other weird stuff. So that's where the finances really in the house came into play. We absolutely love our house. We got the mortgage, really high mortgage right now. As soon as all the documentation is settled and all the escrows are paid and all of that is taken care of, we will be refinancing with our original bank, where we can actually have a traditional mortgage. Granted, we have to pay closing costs again, but I think it's going to be well worth it to get away from having a huge bank that's actually already sold our mortgage twice. We bought the house October 28th. It is not even Thanksgiving yet. It's the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, and our mortgage has been sold twice. So before we get into some really bad situations with banks selling off mortgages and stuff, I really want to get this into our personal bank and with a traditional mortgage, and know that our mortgage, the likelihood of our mortgage being sold off is going to be a lot lower. So that's where I am with finances for right now. Alright, have a great day, and next video is going to be the gardening video. Yay! We're getting there! Thanks. Bye.